Then I was with IDFC First Bank as CISO. While I'm running an NGO, Cyber Vidyapeeth Foundation, along with some of my young teammates. Last assignment, I was with Bombay Stock Exchange as Chief Information Security Officer. As I speak, I'm calling you all from Dubai. So welcome, India. Young and the brilliant mind of India. We are here for a session which is more focused towards how to build the next generation cyber defender. If you look into the recent past, in the last 10-year time, when the journey of security incident and event management system started, it all started with one key technology, which is Elastic, Logstash, and Kibana. Whether you have got a Splunk, whether you have QRadar, whether you have Logarithm, whether you have Exabeam, whether you have Securonix, the underlying principles are all built in Elastics. There is a worldwide, there is a requirement of more than 5 lakh people with Elastic background in Cyber Defense Center. Cyber Vidyapeeth always remain in the forefront of conducting free training for Indian students and even the students from the Arabian worlds. Even the students from Global South. This training is very important training. It's another milestone. And this training, we are not going to teach you on 30,000 feet how the technology works. We are going to teach you how actually Security Operations Center works, how the EQL programming happens, how the Kibana is utilized, how the log stars are available for managing the system administration and the logs which are processed, how the API works, then how the events are handled, and how the incidents are managed. We'll be going even a step further, how the threat hunting is carried out on ELK platform. We are not going to teach you how to operate. We are going to teach you how to build. Cyber is an engineering problem and required engineered solution. That means anything which is point of time technology, they will come and they will go off. But underlying engineering continue to be there for longer period of time. So firewall, the brand name will keep changing, but firewall will remain same as far as technology is concerned. It will go into layer 3 to layer 7. Even 1998, when the layer 3 and 4 was there, layer 7 arrived. By 2002, still firewall has got the same, the brand names changes, right from the Checkpoint to Cisco to Palo Alto to FortiGate to so many other names to be added. But underlying engineering, the IP tables remain one the same, so it never changed. So we are going to teach you exactly the underlying engineering, which makes you a cyber engineer. We don't believe in creating operators, those who know how to operate the tools. We believe engineers are the one who creates. They are the Vishwakarmas of the earth. They are the one who breathe the breezes, and they also protect the breezes from the cyber attack. Welcome to Cyber Vidyapeeth. Cyber Vidyapeeth Foundation is a not-for-profit organization. It has got its existence for the last 5 years' time. We have touched the life of around 300,000 people directly who have undergone some training with us over a period of time. We have created somewhere around 50 to 60,000 people, those who are pursuing cyber as a career. We have around 7 to 8,000 deeper engineers, those who are running the different security operations centers across the globe. So this group of people, those who will be undergoing the training, will add few thousand more. But this program is not for just training, but there are 3 companies. They are expecting at least 100 people to be interviewed at the end of the session. A line of 3 companies, one of the company is definitely, in India, CMS IT services. They have requested us for this training, and we are actually doing it free of cost to all of you. But there is a job opportunity waiting for you in the CMS IT services. There are companies in the Gulf, Paramount Computer Systems. They are looking for people. There is another company in Saudi Arabia, Ahlan Cyber. They are looking for a company. There is another company in Bahrain. They are looking for it. So there are many companies in the Gulf as well as in India. They are looking for resources in ELK. Those who are already in the job in cyber defense, they will use this opportunity to increase their skills to make themselves a true cyber engineer who deserve to be in security operations center. And those who are freshers, and I know many of you are freshers, you will get the hands-on skills on ELK to make sure that you remain a good cyber defense engineer who will run the future SOC of the world. Thanks to All India Council of Technical Education, those who have organized and partnered with us to get all of you invited for the session. We have participants from across the country. As a matter of fact, more than 20,000 people have registered the course. Many of you will be online, many of you will be offline, they will be watching it later on. Doesn't matter, because at the end of it, it is the skills which matters, and your man hour or woman hour that you will give that matters. One very important announcement is that all of you have to be on Telegram channel of Cyber Vidyapeeth Foundation. If you have not done it, go to cybervidyapeeth.in. In the first page itself, the Telegram links are there. Go and connect to the Telegram links, which is a mandatory for this program, because reaching out to 20,000 people is mission impossible by any channel. So Telegram is the only channel which holds more than 2 lakh people. And there are 15,000 people are already there in the channel. And some of you who have not become the part of the channel, please join the part of the channel, because it's nothing that, we don't get any money for that. Don't get confused. This is the place where we share all the content that we are teaching you in the classroom. The contents will be available in a Telegram. So if you want to really pursue this, training for first 50 hours to start with, and those who will be selected, they will be undergoing 200 hours of trainings with us, because we are serious. We want to make a career with you, and we want to get you opportunity which provides you a security operations center opportunity right at your doorstep. Just finishing the course, and first 50 hours will do the filtrations, because I'm sure that out of 20,000 people, not everybody will be equally spirited. Competency is not a problem. India, every children who is born, they are born with a brain. And for you, learning this is not a very difficult job. But many of you will feel that, is it that important? And those who qualify to be in that space where they feel that is very important, and I really want to make it as a career, you are welcome here. We'll take you and make you an expert in this field. So first important announcement is Telegram. You must be there. If you are not there, you will not hear any announcement, because announcement will be done only on Telegram. If you are not on Telegram, you will not be able to attend the classes in a nice manner. You will not be able to see the contents. You will not see the announcement for the exams. And if you have any doubt, your doubt can be cleared not on just YouTube channel, but actually on Telegram, where many of you will respond to each other, and as a team will succeed in next 50 hours, will be able to really touch the benchmark of foundations on which we have to build a career on Elastic as a security engineer. So we have some 100+ interviews lined up for you. If you are serious about your career, in next 3 to 6 month time, all of you will be having a job in security. Minimum 100 interviews is guaranteed because there are 100 places is there. I need to send them your CV. But I won't send the CV unless you qualify in all our hurdles that we create for you. So it's not as online YouTube trainings which comes and goes and you are done. No, not at all. It's an interactive training. YouTube is channel because I cannot handle 20,000 people in any other channel. So I have no other choice but to be on YouTube. But once we are a manageable lot of around 1,000 to 2,000 people, which I expect that after 50 hours of rigorous training and testing, calibrations, and qualifications, if you earn there, then you will be eligible for the next layer of training, which is another 150-hour training, which will be followed by this course. But that will be completely locked down in a room on a Zoom or a team platform. And you will be able to take your career forward in cyber defense altogether. Free doesn't mean it is free because somebody is contributing to your success. If I'm giving an hour time to you, my 1 hour time is $3,000. If I use, who is part of this session, if he is contributing to it, he has got per hours, huge amount of money with him. So if you are getting it free, somebody is giving you donations. It's not free. So don't treat it as free and then, free has no value. If you think like that, you are request to log out from the sessions and move on in your life. It's a serious training. We need to be serious. And it's not free because somebody is actually paying man hours to you to make you successful. Cyber Vidyapeeth Foundation has a tradition of actually passing out only 10% of the people. So 20,000 people, I don't expect more than 2,000 people will qualify to be the advanced training, which will be giving you another free courses, which might cost you somewhere around $4,000 to $5,000 individually. This training itself, the 50 hours that you are taking, it is $1,200. You can go and check on the Elastic's web search. It's $1,200 per head you need to pay if you have to undergo this training. And still those trainings which you will be taking from Elastic's, we'll talk about 30,000 feet engineering. It will not talk about the cyber defense engineering. So we'll be blending cyber defense and Elastic knowledge together to take you forward to the next level. So each one of the class will flow. We'll have, in between, we'll have take some break. And the session will continue for next 2 months time. The 50 hour is not just 50 hours, 50 days. It might be 2 hours a day, or weekend it can be 4 or 5 hours a day. And it will continue in that fashion. While every day will be here, 7 to 9 India time, Dubai time, it will be 5:30 to 7:30. Those my friends, those who have young guys, they have joined from Dubai and Saudi Arabia. Welcome to all of you. We are serious about your career because the future lies with cyber defense. As the war continues, it's not just one war or two wars. The world is facing 44 countries are fighting with their neighbors. So it's a big war. And cyber is an important ingredient in those wars. If you want to protect your country's critical infrastructure, you ought to learn the art of survival. We'll be teaching you something which will make you proud that whatever systems you are managing, you will be able to really find the bugs, find the attacks, deflect the attacks, deceive the attackers, or stop the attacker from further moving into your systems. So we'll start the session today with Ayush Dev. with a deep engineering, cyber engineering skills, with more than 10 years of experience, all the necessary international certification, including OSCP, a hardcore electronics engineer who wants to create every time new things. So you learning this art from a person who himself is a true engineer in right spirit. He does not believe in taking foreign and adversary tools and run it. He believes in making those tools with his own hands. We have got Govind and Akash as a part of this learning session. They'll be guide and philosopher. There will be one who will be handling your queries on the YouTube channel as well as on Telegram. And they will provide you all the necessary resource which is needed for making you successful. Both Govind and Akash are from same cyber defense backgrounds, hands-on experience, and possibly some of the days they will be also training you on how to make your system works for Elastic. We have a very clear plan that Sunday we'll have 3 to 4 hours we'll be spending on it to set up the Elastic in your own systems. This program, you need to have your Elastics installed in your systems and do the practical the way we proceed on it. So Sunday will be dedicated, 3 to 4 hour effort will be there, possibly during the daytime of the day. And that 4 hours time, the team will be available on YouTube. And they will also be on the Telegram channel, same time. So if you have any questions, they will be responding to you in the Telegram channel, or you can be on YouTube channel and can keep on asking questions around that in the chat window, and they will respond the chat by showing you on the screen. So by end of Sunday, you should all have the elastics in your systems available so that the practical can be carried out on them very easily. So today we'll be covering what Elastic is, what does it mean, why it is important for security, what are the covenants of Elastics, what are the terms utilized in Elastics, and why it is, Elastic is so important for us, how it is used in, security organization. So we'll give you a brief idea about it to say around 1 hour time, 1.5 hour time we'll be spending on it to take you a good feed around it, that how Elastics can become an important component of your learning. Trust me, across the globe, if any tool is working on security incident management system, 90% of them are on Elastic. So we'll be teaching you Elastics, how to manage the Logstash, how to do the queries using EQL. We'll also teach you how to use Kibana to do the visualization engine. Because many times it is not just what you do, but how you do and how you represent and how do you create an alert which provides real-time dashboard and scorecards. So all the three skills and important skills. We also teach you how to do the system administration for Elastics. But the real meat line on EQL and how to utilize EQL for making a successful security operations center. So if you have not created a Telegram account so far, please create a Telegram account, because there is no other channel which can hold 15,000 people together. So only social media is there, which is Telegram, which can be utilized for this purpose. All the content will be available only on Telegram, and our interactions will be only on the Telegram channel. There are certain do's and don'ts are there which you must follow. We are all here to provide you a knowledge which becomes very important for you. Don't use the channel for propagating anything else other than what is required to be asked as a part of knowledge acquisition. If any one of you found to be there in the channel which is violating the rule of conduct, asking anything which is other than what is elastic and related to elastics, we will be barred from the Telegram channel and you will logged out from there forever. You don't have second chance for that. As is a free sessions for you, but it is not free session for us because each one of us are actually investing significant amount of money for you, because the number of man hour we are going to do, it's a clear money for us. We can save that money and we can do some other work, but we want to make you successful. That's the reason we are all committing. So it's a service that we are providing to you, but don't treat that it is a free service. Somebody is actually paying for you. Third thing is that, if any one of you are finding any difficulty, Telegram channel is the right place to raise your concern, and we'll do our level best to resolve it. And we'll give the right guidance how to resolve your issues. All contents will be available in Telegram. I'm repeating 2-3 times, so those who have joined late, at least they should be able to hear the statement correctly. The session may not be every day. Like tomorrow, we don't have plan for doing any sessions. We'll share you some content today by end of the evening. By end of the sessions, you will have some 30-40 slides available to you. We'll pass through most of them today, and there will be some pages. If it is left out, we'll do it, on Sunday. The purpose of it is that on Sunday, you should be able to have the Elastic in your own laptops. And from there, we can move on further to take the sessions from Monday onward. So Sunday, there will be 3 to 4 hour or 5 hour sessions. Please do join on time. Recording will be available on YouTube, not every day. Some of the sessions will be surprise session. There will be no recording. And if you fail to attend those sessions on a continuous live basis, you may not have those videos available with you. We follow the discipline to make sure that you all are disciplined about the sessions. There will be certain announcement will be done during the class, and there will be an exam conducted online to gauge your interactions, to gauge your understanding, so that we can tweak our training based on your feedback, which comes as a part of your exams. But if you are not there live every day with us, you will miss the exams, and then you will not be eligible for any further classes and clarifications. The top 200 students, they'll be filtered out at the end of 50 hours. And those 200 people will be eligible for advanced training by us on Elastics, and they are the only one who will be interviewed at the end of it. So we have around 100 odd vacancies, and we'll be taking around 200 people. And I'm very confident out of 200 people, 100 people will definitely make it, because we'll make you successful by providing some advanced trainings and also providing you some advanced access to our portal, Elastic Systems, the real SIEMs, so that you can do hands-on practice around that. With that, thank you so much, for joining us today. While we have the full session left, Mr. Ayush Dev. Ayush, can you switch on your video? Ayush Dev, he'll be, taking the session further. And I'm sure that, at the end of the day, you will have good understanding what Elastic is, what are the components of Elastics, how the Elastics are being utilized, and at the end of it, why Elastic is so important for security professionals. And at the end of the sessions, the session content will be shared to you on Telegram. So if you have not joined the Telegram so far, please feel free to join and take it forward from there. All the best and wish you happy learning. Ma Saraswati bless you all. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Over to you, Ayush. All the best to all of you.
Thank you, sir. So very good evening to everybody and welcome to our course. So rightly said, Balaji sir, about the threat landscape of that is ever evolving, and we are facing threats on every day. There are the military threats across the globe is evident, uh, but the economic threats that looms due to the cyber threats are not so evident, but it's a bloodbath, in and that causes all the economies um and various financial institutions, multinational companies, and throughout the industries, be it e-commerce, be it chip industry, be it oil and gas, be it banking and financial institutions, be it chemical industry, be it agriculture, be it manufacturing, be it aerospace. Every industry uh, faces threat day in and day out, and the uh, the 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 progression of threats happen. Uh, it it does not happen in a single moment. The attacks are well planned, well staged, and it requires a lot of uh, deep deep penetration into every network for the attackers to understand the the crown jewels across the organizations, and to exfiltrate the said crown jewels. And it is very the attacks can be very sophisticated. The attacks range from vary in sophistication, from very common attacks to very sophisticated attacks. Uh, and uh, the technologies that are targeted every day are, as the technology is growing, the threat footprint is increasing every day, and we need to the we need to be proactive rather than be reactive. The proactivity comes from having a deep insight into the technology that you want to protect, the data that you want to protect, and the the awareness of the crown jewels within your organization. The uh, the any artifact within your organization or your trade secrets can be categorized as crown jewels, and that's what and the movement of these crown jewels throughout your organization is monitored, can be monitored and metered by ELK. So ELK is uh, it's it's a technology. It's not magic. It's just technology, and it's a very impressive piece of technology where it relies on the verbose logs that are generated throughout the organization. It has the capability to correlate uh, events. It has the ability to correlate the in any the the attacks that are happening on various components of the infrastructure. So I would like to start with a slide deck that me and my colleagues have uh, prepared. And I would like to take the focus towards our slide deck. So the introductory prerequisites have already been shared with all of us. The prerequisites will be also be uh, shared on the Telegram channel. Please join the Telegram channel, and we have support from our various colleagues who will be helping us to resolve any queries at any given moment. Now, Elastic Enterprise for security over. So as of now, the Elastic has a couple of offerings. The Elastic has Community Edition. The Elastic has Elastic has the Server Edition as well as Enterprise Edition. So these are the various billing models of Elastic, which the Elastic uses to classify its customer base and brings in more utilities uh, for an ever challenging and ever growing industrial needs. The Elastic at the moment has tremendous scalability, and it can scale to any size and any size of the organization. The real-time insights that the Elastic Stack provides is unparalleled to all the SIEM solutions, and the added advantage, it being open source, can be customized. Integrations. The Elastic has a, very in-depth, it has a capability of integration with various technologies, be it forward, reverse, and vertical and horizontal integrations throughout the tech stack of the organization. The security operations can heavily leverage the Elastic ecosystem to uh, understand the various threats each of its services, be it a web service, be it an FTP service, be it a mail service, be it be it the endpoints, be it the and endpoints of any operating system is supported with the Elasticsearch. The Elastic ecosystem, Elastic log analysis, provides us a homogeneous platform for uh, all the alerts to be summarized for us to take uh, actions at various levels, and it enables the various levels of the security operations center to take immediate and strategic decisions. The Kibana is the visualization front end for for every Elastic Stack, and it helps to visualize all the components of the data metrics that are produced by the Elastic Stack. The visualization is a very powerful media which can help us to take many strategic decisions based on So it is possible that we have if we have visibility into the threat on a visual level, then it will help us to take uh, it will help us to drive any investigation in a uh, very in an evidence-based uh, operation. The visualization is well said, well can be is well termed as a picture worth 1,000 words. So with Kibana, we can paint the same picture. We can create appealing dashboards. We can leverage the pre-built dashboards uh, that are curated by the open source community to suit each and every uh, log source and even the correlated log source that will help us to visualize the incoming threats from various aspects. It has good uh, customization capabilities. So when I say by good, so it has cutting edge. It does not only locks you to a couple of predefined uh, configurations like colors or some certain charts, but it it is as it is being as it is open source. Uh, it also gives you the flexibility to include its dashboards within your custom web applications, web pages, to have a dynamic rendering wherever required. Hence, the customization is endless with Kibana. So the drill down investigation aspect of Kibana, as Kibana being a visual media, it will help you to, so it is imagined to be as pyramid, a pyramid of correlated information. So at the pinnacle, you will have uh, your incident, and as you want to investigate the root cause, you will explore each layer of this pyramid or this chain of events in a by exploring and going through all of the correlated events. Kibana as a SIM module. Kibana uh, does also has various uh, integration features where it can also take actions. It can take actions based on the user intervention. It can fire playbooks. So these playbooks will be part of the can be part of uh, any orchestration utility, or plain simple. It can also be a, a web application or a custom web application that could be triggering certain activities. Kibana, uh, there are rules that are curated by the open source community that Kibana leverages in um, which which has a separate language, which is called KQL, Kibana Query Language, and it uh, also leverages scripts which is in the language, which is in a language called as painless scripting. Now, these various components of Kibana together, if coordinated well, can help us to orchestrate a fine-tuned environment that is focused towards preventing any security threat, be it a web application security threat, be it a and threat to a air-gapped network, be it a threat to a AD domain, be it a threat to IoT IoT network of IoT devices, as well as very or even threats from internal threats from humans. Logstash in a security data pipeline. So as of now, we have discussed about Elasticsearch, we have discussed about Kibana. Now, Logstash. Logstash is the component that ingests the data. It makes it cleans the data. So as we know, there are various sources from every aspects of the network, and each aspect of the network will be giving its own telemetry. It will be giving its own logs. So at various frequencies. So now all of this needs to be normalized for a log ingestion engine like Elasticsearch. So that's the role of Logstash, to normalize the format, the frequency, and also to validate the data before providing it to the Elasticsearch and to the presentation layer, which is Kibana. So for any digital system, be it a SIEM, be it a SOAR, be it any digital system, the key concept is, if there is garbage input, there will be garbage output. So Logstash makes sure to prevent that. Again, we cannot emphasize enough the data plumbing capabilities of Logstash. The Logstash also has the capability to enrich information. It can so let's suppose the most common type of enrichment that can be observed would be timestamps. So every event, every log, every data input must be timestamped. So let's suppose if the Logstash or the entire SIEM or the ALK stack receives a log from any of the components within the infrastructure. So a timestamp must be associated to that log at the time of entry, at the time of receipt. And now this, at the time of reception, when we provide a timestamp, it helps us to build a historical record, and it helps us to identify various oddities within the logs itself. And if the Logstash if the Logstash sees where if so the most common transformations the Logstash does is, for example, let's suppose we have a global network of devices, a global network of infrastructure, and logs are coming from various geolocations. So each already have their timestamps. So now the Logstash can make a decision to to change the timestamp from the relative to it can leave the timestamp to its own to its source, or it can change it to the server's location with relative to GMT. And this is all configurable. Again, the Logstash operates in a three-phase pipeline: the input, the process, and then the output. So the input is a very versatile phase of Logstash where it ingests, where it tries to identify uh, where the input is coming from. The input could be from a network port. It could be from a network. It could be from a real-time file. It could be even from devices. Like we can provide if the associated drivers are present on the server, then we can map USB devices to Logstash, and then the data will move to the next phase of the pipeline, that is the process, and then finally to the output. The ELK now beats for data security collection. So as ELK is a networked solution, it operates in a peer-to-peer server client architecture. As of now, we have discussed about Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana, which are the three components of the server part. Now, so it has to have a client counterpart. It does not necessarily needs to have a client counterpart, but Elasticsearch organization, enterprise, and the open source community have come up with various client counterparts that can be installed on various monitored components. So let's suppose if we have a server which we want to monitor. Now it depends upon how intrusive we want our monitorings to be. Let's suppose if we want our monitoring to be very intrusive, and we have the bandwidth, we have the processing capability that can be spared for a utility that can collect and process and ship the logs to the ELK server. So then we install these client component calls client components called as beats. We have different forms of these beats to facilitate various forms of logging. So a file beat. A file beat has the capability to uh, monitor a file for read and write, and any changes, if there are made, then it will identify those changes. It can, then it will ship those changes. Packet beats. Packet beats will monitor every network traffic and monitor every packet, and it will ship any anomalous findings from those packets or the packets itself to the ELK server. Winlog beats. So now the Windows, there are three prominent, there are four prominent operating systems like Windows, Linux, Mac, and Android, and even iOS. So the Winlog beats just works for Windows, and it has the unique objective to monitor the Windows syslog events and ship those events to the ELK server. Later in the course, we'll understand what uh, is the gravity of each of these components, but uh, we have to uh, be sure that every beat has has some operational overhead, and uh, we would and that needs to be planned in advance for every uh, client in the infrastructure before provisioning. And although it's very lightweight, but it has its so the beats are for every it uh, are for every platform, and it can help us to ship logs across the infrastructure. Docker for Elastic Stack deployments. So we want, as ELK being a networked uh, solution, we want to maximize the throughput for the throughput and processing of the ELK stack. As let's imagine if we have thousands of infrastructure nodes that are simultaneously running, uh, say, thousands of beats, and they are all shipping their logs, streaming their logs to our ELK server. Now, if we have a single tier architecture, it is possible, or a single node architecture. In that case, the ELK might itself become a bottleneck for log processing, and we want to prevent that. So in order to prevent that, we use Docker. We'll use Docker so that we can scale the various components on demand, and to adapt to the scale of the requirement of the infrastructure. So let's suppose uh, as let's suppose we have the as we have discussed about uh, Logstash being the aggregator of the logs. So we do not want the Logstash process itself to be overburdened. Or let's suppose if the Logstash service crashes. So we want a failover. We don't want to miss out any logs. So in that case, we deploy multiple Logstash containers, and in order to process those uh, output from multiple Logstash containers. We'll deploy multiple Elastic containers, and depending upon our, so these Elastic containers will be parallelly processing all of the information, all of the data coming from the pool of Logstash. And the beauty of this is that it all seamlessly manages the atomicity of the logs. So let's suppose if there is a log that is ingested by one Logstash server, or is received by the pool uh, and is reported by every Logstash server within the pool to every Logstash, every Elastic server within the stack, then we do not have replicas. Uh, there is an automated deduplication that happens, and it prevents the duplicacy of the logs. Similarly, if we have a distributed operation orchestration monitoring, and let's suppose if we have hundreds of users monitoring these logs, so the interface that these hundreds of users, essentially the SOC users, will be using will be dashboards from Kibana, right? So now we can also similarly, with the help of Dockers, we can scale the cluster of Kibana servers to adapt to the uh, growing number of users, and hence help to analyze the feed in real time. So setting up the ELK stack with Docker is very easy, where we can use the same where we can use the open source containers created by Bitnami. We can use the containers created by Elasticsearch community themselves, and we can make sure and the in this course we'll learn how to scale these the dynamic scaling of each of these components, and uh, the the seamless integration of the entire pool of these servers with and a seamless interaction of each of the components of these servers within the pool for distributed uh, processing of the heavy workload of logs, which can easily go into uh, millions of events. The Docker, we cannot emphasize enough on uh, the ease of use that comes with Docker. Uh, the Docker itself, the architecture of the ELK can be organized in small clusters with and nodes, where we'll uh, define the nodes for Logstash, we'll define the nodes for Elasticsearch, we'll define nodes for Kibana. And every component is a networked component. So it will have certain common configurations like host names, like ports, and certain unique features as well. So the Logstash, being the log aggregator, has the capability to filter the logs. So it can use grok patterns to filter out logs. The Elasticsearch is like the database. It's where all the data is going to be stored. So we can understand it as a three-phase system where Logstash is for ingestion, Elasticsearch is for the storage, and Kibana is for decimation of information. So there are some common ports that these. So port 9600 will be used by Logstash. Port 9200 and 9300 will be used by Elasticsearch, and port 5601 will be used by Kibana. So let's move to WinLogBeat. WinLogBeat being as of now, we have two prominent flavors of or three prominent flavors of Windows operating system, be it x86, x64, and ARM64. So WinLogBeats support all of three, and it can easily ingest logs from every platform of operating system of Windows, be it Windows ranging from Windows 7 to Windows 11. It logs security events, it logs server crashes, it logs system utilization, it logs various other logs that are provided in the syslog format. In order to install WinLog, it's very simple. We just need to install we need to download the binary from Elasticsearch, and we need to install it as an MSI installer. The WinLogBeat serves as an endpoint monitoring. It is commonly used as an endpoint monitoring utility that it can become configured with a YAML file, and each of the we can specify what kind of logs we want to collect, and the logs from it collects logs from various aspects of the operating system, be it the PowerShell environment, be it the services, be it the kernel drivers, and all. It will be able to collect logs from all of the various services, and it will ship them to the ELK stack for processing for various for further processing. The The self-monitoring of WinLog beats is also possible with the beats agent itself. In order to verify the log ingestion, we can use various unique tokens within the logs, be it the host name, or be it the IP address, or be it the domain name, or the domain user of the users of the endpoint, or if there is any sorts of service account that is running, so we can identify the WinLog. We can verify the sources. So very common type of attack is a brute force attack, where it is the attacker tries to guess the password of the victim by entering passwords multiple times, and it is possible to and these all attempts, if failed or if succeeded, both are logged successfully within the syslogs or Windows security event logs, and the winlog beats will be shipping these failed attempts, these past attempts, as well as successful login statuses, and shipping them directly to the elk stack. The open source community has worked heavily to fine tune and develop rules for detection of these security incidents. So if there is some sort of malicious adware that gets dropped onto the machine, then it can be tracked with the winlog beats or the endpoint, any of the endpoint beats, to identify the suspicious activities. And in order to it can also be leveraged to identify more sophisticated attacks, like worm attacks, or any jumps that are made from adjacent machines within a domain. For example, within a network domain, it is possible that there are various machines that are compromised, but some are not. So it is possible that the attacker might choose to move from one machine to another over the network, and that is termed as lateral movement. And it can be identified with sufficient logging from winlog beats to our elk stack. Privilege escalation is an attack that is made to identify the other users within the same machine. So it is possible that there are multiple users within the same machine that might use separate local accounts be it for service and privilege escalation attacks can be used to identify many discovered many accounts uh, that are present on the endpoint and subsequently use it to uh, further their footprint within the network and to exfiltrate information. The uh, the rules that are provided by various within the open source ecosystem is not fine tuned towards. In this course, we'll also learn about thresholding to what um, how these rules can be fine tuned to suit the uh, capacity of these addressing the alerts and to avoid or overwhelming the SOC users as well as the orchestration engines in order to prevent the uh, exhaustion attacks, basically on the SOC itself. As with these various components within our stack, be it Beats, be it Logstash, be it Elasticsearch, be it Kibana, and all based on a scalable technology like Docker, we can expand to any capacity and to monitor every parameter appliance and its security logs, be it firewall and to uh, be it or IDS, IPS, which are on-prem facilities that enable us to monitor the network traffic. We can also expand to cloud environments. As of now, the industry is trying to, or the business is trying to move to a low overhead ecosystem like cloud. The threats of the cloud are also increasing significantly, where any the any exposed cloud asset can be abused to target the entire organization. The cloud assets could be an S3 bucket. It could be an uh, GitHub action. It could be an exposed EC2 instance. It could be Google function. It could be a compute unit or even data lakes that are on the cloud, which store which companies have which the entire industry and multinational companies have invested millions on migrating from their on-prem infrastructure to uh, a cloud environment where it's all handled on a click of a button. The cloud environment, uh, the ease the amount of ease it provides is also proportional to the amount of threats it exposes the organization to. The threats are less from the infrastructure, but the threats are mostly from the misconfigurations that can be made to these cloud assets, which can impact the uh, exposure of these cloud assets to the globe. And for with ELK, we can manage, we can observe any changes made to any of the cloud assets. Let's suppose we have we can have let's suppose if there is an S3 bucket and we want to have a monitoring on that on that S3 bucket for exposure. So we can have an active monitoring, as well as we can have a passive monitoring. So in an active monitoring approach for monitoring a cloud asset, we will be having services like CloudWatch. We will have that are monitoring any changes to the uh, any assets on the cloud, and we can have metrics from there and keep ingesting it within the elk stack. And in a passive or an offensive monitoring, we can have we can have we can develop a utility in the form of a script that could essentially be hooking to the will be trying to hook to the S3 bucket 24/7, 365 days a year, to in order to identify if and when that S3 bucket gets misconfigured. So this will be a situation where we are checking it from a maker's perspective as well as from an attacker's perspective. And this, both the capabilities are there within the ELK monitoring and logging framework. The Elasticsearch, there are various enterprise features within the Elasticsearch that can help us give insights into the logs that are collected based upon various uh, threat patterns, and also based on various analytics that are performed on the logs. So for example, if there is usually there's a trend of data, there is a correlation of uh, a statistical correlation that has been made where the duration of iteration within an organization. So for example, duration of iteration of people within an organization and the data exfiltration, the amount of data exfiltration that incident happens, are closely correlated. So the machine learning algorithms can predict or choose to predict high risk or high value targets within within our within the infrastructure. These targets could be our crown jewels. These targets could be our employees, and which can constitute to an internal threat. And these internal threats can be closely monitored by our elk stack enterprise features. The Elasticsearch Enterprise feature also has the capability to integrate with various threat intelligence feeds. So there are various threat intelligence. We'll also explore open source as well as closed source threat intelligence feed sources within this course to identify the various uh, qualities of each of these feeds and how effectively we can uh, use them together in order to create an as an actionable intelligence or actionable item for our SOC to operate on. These threat intelligence inputs from various sources, be it open source, be it proprietary, be it or even driven by uh, our local detonation engines or sandboxes, can help enhance the effectiveness of the security that we provide to the infrastructure. So for example, let's suppose there is a spear phishing campaign that happens on an organization and thousands of victims or users within those organizations receive a mail which has a phishing link. Now, we extend features with Microsoft Outlook and various other mail clients to report phishing. And once these phishing emails are reported, they are sent to a third or a reporting mailbox, forwarded to a reporting mailbox. Then these mailbox are operated by our sandbox bots. These sandbox bots will analyze, pick every phishing email, analyze the contents of every email, hence using a term detonation, and analyze if the link is malicious. It will open the link. It will find the telemetry from that link, like what websites does it uh, forward to, or what is the content that particular link downloads. And from there, it makes sure to log every activity that sandbox generates and gives a feedback to our elk stack. Now this feedback to the elk stack can help us identify any instances where these chain of executions might have happened in any other endpoint within the infrastructure. And this all can be orchestrated seamlessly with our Elastic Enterprise features, which we'll explore in the subsequent classes. User and entity behavior analytics. Uh, so the UEBA is a critical component for when we want to analyze the users. Say if the users within the network or users of the endpoint within the network, their approach towards security is very important, because people are the weakest link in any chain of security. So if we can identify users who have the habit of clicking on phishing emails, or have the habit of forgetting to change their passwords as per the organization mandated time frame, then we can assign those users to separate awareness and training opportunities, which will help them to be on par with the statistical average of the standard of security within the organization. And UEBA is one of the premium features of the Elastic Enterprise security feature, which we'll see in the upcoming courses and within the classes of the upcoming courses. So to summarize, the Elastic security workflow, we ingest the data with Logstash. We not just ingest, we also label them, we groom them, we even if required, we modify them, and then we forward it for associations with association and storage with Elasticsearch, and then alerting and orchestration is made through Kibana. It is also very important to maintain the integrity of the Elastic infrastructure. We should always keep the stack up to date to the latest patch, and avoid the end of life builds like ELK6. Right now, the ELK7 and ELK8 are the builds that are supported and receive continuous patches. But we should be ready to migrate from the builds that are available that are generally available. The organization must have a storage policy of the data as over time the ELK stack can accumulate enormous amount of logs and data. So we should have a policy of either phasing out the data, or for an archival mechanism in order to move it to a bucketing strategy, where a hot bucket, cold bucket analogy can be used, where the hot bucket is mostly the frequently used data, and cold bucket is historical data. So let's suppose if we have operated upon a historical data, then it can be pushed to a S3 bucket or remote storage for safekeeping, or it can also be phased out. The access control is one of the critical components of Elasticsearch infrastructure, where each, as the entire ELK stack is a networked ecosystem. Every component must have network level authentication. It must have stringent access control to each of its components, because each of the components will uh, can be remotely accessed and altered. So it is very important to make sure that the access control to each of the components are heavily restricted. Each component, be it Logstash, be it Elasticsearch, be it Kibana, expose management APIs. So these management APIs are essentially can be used to operate individual nodes within the cluster of the Logstash or the Elasticsearch or Kibana, and change various parameters of the entire stack or each of the nodes. And with as with every SIEM solution, it needs continuous tuning and feedback from the SOC operators and security professionals to keep it up to date with the rules and thresholds which can be which are used to generate alerts on a continuous real-time data feed. These thresholds can be optimized with various machine learning jobs as well. But as of now, the handcrafted rules yield the best results, despite the competence, the increasing competence of the LLMs. This will essentially this will greatly reduce the false positives that will be generated from the entire stack in order to prevent wrong reportings as well as wrong orchestrations, and it can also prevent the overhead endured by the operatives of the stack. So the elastic security in itself, the security for elastic ELK stack, as it is a networked utility, or it's a networked stack, we have to make sure that the stack, the various components of the stack are uh, can be scaled on demand. We want to provide uh, a seamless scalable solution than as the biggest hurdle to an ELK operation, ELK operation will be a network bottleneck that is created by the ELK stack itself. So the most common uh, the most common aspects of scaling can be utilized, like horizontal scaling, data tiering, load balancing, monitoring and optimization. So the horizontal scaling uh, can be as we are going to use Docker as our platform. So it's a container solution. Now, the Docker as if we as we are using container as a solution. So there are cloud services that offer container services like EKS that provide us hyperscaling. And now we can think of it as a tiered or a staggered approach to increase the capacity of the entire ELK stack. The data tiering heavily focus he- heavily fo heavily focuses on the uh, arrangement and uh, correlation of data in order to uh, in order to preserve only the key important aspects. So as for example, as of now, we have learned that Logstash ingests the logs, the Elasticsearch stores the log, and Kibana visualizes the log. So in every phase, uh, we can we have a choice either to save the raw information or to make it more efficient and correlate multiple information at every level so that uh, the processing at the current so the philosophy is that processing at the present will save disk in the future. So for example, if we have the if we have if there are multiple sources like IDS, and if the Logstash is receiving data from the IDS as well as the DNS server as well as the endpoint. So all of these logs can be unified to present to a single node. And in this way, we can uh, remove the common components from each of the records, like host names or timestamps, and essentially reduce the number of records that are created within the ELK stack. Load balancing. Uh, as the entire ELK stack is a networked solution, and each of the component can operate as independent nodes within a cluster. So uh, Logstash pool can have various nodes and can be clustered. Same uh, clustering can be made for the Elasticsearch, and same clustering can be made with Kibana. So in order to load balance Logstash, it has inbuilt pooling capabilities. We can make pools in Logstash, and we can have architectures that are suitable and fine-tuned to ingest only uh, logs that are ingest targeted logs from the various components of a network. So for example, there can be if there are 10,000 endpoints within an infrastructure, so we can make sure that some of the so we can have uh, if we have uh, like 20 Logstash servers, so we can have uh, 500 machines reporting to each uh, Logstash server and essentially balancing the load. Or uh, we can make sure to have uh, the pool enabled within the Logstash nodes itself. The Elasticsearch can also operate in a pool. And for Kibana, mostly the users will be the SOC users. Although it can be used for business purposes, it is very rarely used for business analytics. The prime focus is security, and it the already available industry standard solutions and open source solutions which are used for any web services can be used to load balance, like HA proxy is one of these solutions, or Squid proxy is one of the solutions that can be used. These are open source solutions, or any load balancer web gateway can be used. The Elasticsearch ELK stack must be monitored for health and to optimize and must be optimized to ingest the frequency of logs. For example, the components of health for any component within the log is the memory utilization, the CPU utilization, and the network bandwidth utilization, as well as various other environmental uh, parameters like CPU temperature, CPU frequency, uh, should be monitored in order to understand the core workload frequencies and optimizations of the stacks to prevent any crashes. The enterprise, there are various enterprise features of Elasticsearch. Is integration with ticketing tools like ServiceNow, Jira, or Freshworks, or any ticketing service based upon thresholds it can be created for service, in order to initiate service, so that the system can automatically alert the concerned individuals within the network, be it the NOC, be it SOC, be it the IT administrators, and give them a real-time insight into the network activities and the actions that are required, or the attention that is required basically for each of the assets. It also has communication with various communication channels, uh, with SMS, with Slack integration, with WhatsApp integration, and it also has integration with SOAR platforms. So SOAR it can trigger Groovy scripts with Jenkins or in a CI/CD pipeline, and it can also trigger various GitHub actions. It can also trigger um, uh, various fan out. It can spawn more nodes within a cluster to avoid bottlenecks. So in order for an enterprise to be compliant, to operate within a jurisdiction, let's suppose if an organization wants to operate in Europe, it must comply to GDPR data norms. If an organization wants to operate within India, it must comply with Indian cyber law. And similarly, and these laws are have compliance and monitoring bodies for various industries with respect to data security and data localizations. So we can have a real-time compliance dashboards of violation of any of these standards, so that we can take corrective actions in a real-time fashion and immediately, to avoid any heavy fines that will be imposed by the organization, that will be imposed by the uh, legal entity they are operating under, or to basically be in line with the law of the land. The automated reporting will be with various channels, via emails, via tickets, via SMS, via Slack channels, via WhatsApp messages, and so that it can ensure, it can also trigger IVR calls, robotic calls, that will essentially inform the user on their cell phones by basically calling them by using AI callers. Now, in many of the reports, we need to redact many sensitive information, like personally identifiable information that we do not want to be disclosed to the public. So, for example, in any public document, we always tend to, we are required by law to hide the identity of a victim. So let's suppose if there is a phishing attack on any of our employees, any of the employees of an organization, and it tends to, and there are financial losses, and the incident is cited in a clause in a class action lawsuit against the organization. So in order to prevent the leakage of personally identifiable information of the victim, here the victim of a phishing attack, we need to make sure these personally identifiable information like name, Aadhaar card number, PAN card number, or US security number, or social security number, or similarly national identification numbers, we need to mask. Usually these informations are provided at the time of employment for personal and background verification, and in that way it stays with the organization and is mapped. It is many of times mapped within the as a digital asset. The Elasticsearch enterprise feature, there are various enterprise features in the Elasticsearch that go beyond the capability of an on-premise installation. It's a constantly evolving security solution. As we speak, as it's an open source, we can go to the we can go to the GitHub. We can check commits being made to its source code every hour. So new features are getting added to Elastic Enterprise, as well as the community offerings of the Elastic Stack. The AI-driven, as the entire world is moving towards the AI-driven operations, hence Elasticsearch does not at the moment offer any LLMs of its own, but it makes sure that it has good compatibility with many chat assistants and chatbots. Elasticsearch has presence in every cloud, every commonly available cloud like Google Cloud, AWS, Azure, Indian clouds, as well as the various other cloud partners in every region of the globe. As of now, the SOAR capabilities of ELK stack is expanding towards a more inclusive framework, which is XDR. We'll discuss more on XDR in the coming classes. and collaborative security. So collaborative security is when, uh, let's suppose, the defense team and the offense team of an organization uh, work side by side to make sure that uh, any possible threats can be mitigated. So as of now, the key concepts that we have, uh, the key concepts and outline of this entire cutting edge course we have discussed are with its stack, its capabilities, its features, um, uh, its precision and its compatibility with uh, the overall platform and ecosystems, as well as its scalability across various parameters. And in the coming connects, we'll explore more use cases in the various aspects of security, be it vulnerability management, be it pen testing, be it SAST, be it DAST, be it security component analysis, be it log monitoring, primarily being log monitoring, because log monitoring is the bread and butter of elk stack. And whatever can be ingested, whatever can be ingested as a log, as a security log, can be monitored and enriched and visualized within this open source solution. And again, for continuous learning, please enroll in our Telegram channel, where we will have constant uh, support from our colleagues, as well as various uh, material will be provided, and details on upcoming challenge activities, real-time challenge activities, labs will also be provided in the Telegram channel. And uh, the biggest or the most important aspect of this course is to self-learn, to understand, and to be able to perform each of these, to explore each of these capabilities and features of the Elasticsearch stack. A guide will be also be provided in the Telegram channel for offline learning, as well as feel free to connect to our uh, with our colleagues on the Telegram channel. Every query is monitored by me, as well as Balaji sir, for any and it we also tend to compile a general. We'll also be compiling general FAQs, which then will be used to enhance the learning experience for uh, within this course, as well as in each of the classes. So it will be a constant learning effort for everybody. So thank you everybody for joining.